going live. Are we live? We're live. You're live.
Are we recording on this too?
Yeah. I'm live.
All right.
You're live. Here we are. Another episode.
We're fucking live.
We're live.
No holds barred.
No.
Anything can happen. If I pull my dick out, it's over for this guy's career.
Well, it's over for the channel too. As long if your dick has anything on it that they're not supposed to say, you can probably show you that. It's just like if you have a tattoo next to it that's like kind of like Epstein is a pedophile.
I have a racial epithet on my shaft.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, no, you can't do that. You know.
I actually got a tattoo of the Louis Vuitton logo on my ball sack.
Did you?
So I could tell girls that I got them a designer bag.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
I swear.
Are you gonna show me your balls one day to prove this?
Yeah, for sure. Off camera though.
All right. Yeah, not here. So we've already gotten to the beginning of this podcast, and Eli has already told me that he owes me showing me his balls at some point later down the line. But first off, let's go through the sponsors first. That's the natural progression from balls to sponsors. Sponsors for the podcast, drinkaction.com, action with a K, coffee company. They got a great turmeric and hemp product. Use 10PATX, you get 15% off. Another sponsor, 10PATX Apparel on Amazon. Again, that's 10PATX Apparel. You can go to onit.com and use 10PATX for 10% off. And then to buy my book, you can go to the 451project.com for my latest book. And in the future, I think I'll be releasing more through there. Curtis and I are talking about something hopefully down the line coming. I am here with Eli Halpern, one of our newest, well, you're not one of our newest students, but you've been with us for, I don't know, how long now?
Probably the newest and most committed.
The newest and most committed. That's a very good label to give yourself, and you have been very committed. But you have. How long have you been training?
I've been training jiu-jitsu for a little over a year, and I switched over to MMA once I moved here about 5 months ago, and I kind of put jiu-jitsu off to the side, which I regret, but MMA's been a phenomenal experience too. Well,
I mean, the MMA team that we're putting together, you weren't here last November, last December. The program was really just getting started. Cody had just got here in December. Andrew was giving us, we had a 3 o'clock slot on Monday and a 3 o'clock slot on Thursday, which isn't really the ideal time for kind of the scheduling where everyone kind of slots in. There's the morning, the lunch, and the night. 3 o'clock was kind of a dead time, and he'd get 3-4 guys. But now, as you can see, was that a conscious commitment before you came here, or did you kind of see the team growing out and say, hey, I can get some good work in over there, and I couldn't? Where were you before? Were you able to get that kind of work in somewhere else?
Well, first of all, big shout out to Cody Hofstadter and Andrew Craig. Those guys are fucking amazing. And the whole team.
Dude.
And fucking everyone at the gym. I love everyone at the gym. That is my favorite place in the world right now. But so...
Fuck yeah, it is, dude.
So what started...
it's the only place in the world you don't have to wear a mask.
That's true. Just breathe in each other's mouths.
Yeah.
It's terribly unsafe, but...
that's what I heard. But you're about to say...
I'd rather be unsafe and, be productive and follow my dreams and shit. But, so how it started was... I did jiu-jitsu on and off for a couple of years, maybe a month here and there. And I was just moving around a lot, being young, living, and not really committing to anything. And the first time I did it was in 2014. I did it for about 3 months. These Brazilian dudes I met were like, oh, you got to try jiu-jitsu. Come train with us. And I did. And I started loving it because I'm not athletic by nature.
Okay.
People are always surprised to hear that because I'm in good shape, but I just I've lifted weights my whole life. I'm not.
So you were one of those kids who started getting committed to lifting in high school. You really enjoyed it.
College.
College, okay. Because you do look like an athlete. It looks like you've been training a lot.
I am now.
Yeah.
Not
you turn yourself into an athlete a little bit.
Yeah. That's a big thing for me is becoming who you want to be, and I'm constantly trying to prove myself to myself. But the progression of martial arts was I loved in that 3 months I started tapping people out, and I'm like, oh, I can feel myself learning.
This is
I
cool.
feel like I'm understanding my body better. I get out of bed better, out of the car. I don't know, I used to just kind of shimmy out, and now I'll just do some little roll, all those little moves and drills and stuff, and you're like, oh, there's a more efficient way to get out of bed. It's just little things that have impacted every aspect of my life. to my thought process too, and it also ties into comedy because jiu-jitsu is made up a bunch of little moves that, like, if it's your first day, you're gonna be like, when am I ever gonna be in this position?
Yep.
Like, why would I need this? But then, when you've been doing it for a while and you see things come together, then you can see that you can patch them together and make a whole series. Kind of like if you have a bunch of bits of jokes.
Yeah.
On their own, they're not going to do much. But if you string them together properly, then it becomes a great comedy set or whatever.
Toward the objective, the full objective of, like, this is the set that I'm trying to put on. This is the, this calls back to this.
Yeah.
That kind of, like, this move, this kind of leads me into this part of what I'm talking about. Like, kind of like a conversation of, with podcasts, right? You're like, and you have a few of them, right? What are your 2 podcasts named?
I host Cast Burgers, which is a mix of podcast and Asperger's. And I host Giggle Boys with my best friend, Mike Eaton, who is going to be famous pretty soon, I promise you. Which means I'll be riding his coattails, so.
Is he out here in Texas too now?
Yeah, he is.
So did both y'all move out here together, like, during this
different reasons? He ended up. Back to the
comedy.
To the LA thing.
Okay,
so
LA.
I was in LA 4 years ago. I did jiu-jitsu for a while, so I knew I loved jiu-jitsu, but I just never really fully committed to it. And then finally, a year ago, when I was in LA. A little over a year ago, I started training at 10 Planet West LA.
Okay.
And then I really started grinding, like, twice a day.
Yep.
Every day. And
it was like 5 years off, and you were just like, finally, I'm doing this again. I really want to do it.
Yeah. And
you had a lot built up where you were like, I really want to, like, once I'm going back in there, and you're just like stoked to be back doing it.
Yeah.
And really just got after it since then. And you're young enough to really, like, still keep getting better and compete, and like, you're competing this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm competing Saturday.
Yeah, World Series.
And I have a comedy show Saturday, so that's gonna be a fucking fun day.
Saturday night.
Yeah, at Dripping Springs Wanderlust Wine Co.
Okay.
I think tickets are like $30.
Okay.
I have a lot of people coming out to see me, which makes me nervous because if I bomb in front of strangers, I don't care. But if I bomb in front of my friends, I can't imagine anything worse.
So how long have you been doing comedy, right? Like, so you were out in LA, you were in West LA with Scott Epstein. And his crew out there working. How long have you been in comedy?
I've been doing comedy consistently for 4 years. It started the same as jiu-jitsu, where, like, I did it a few times here and there, but I didn't really dive into it. And then I was in Thailand on the end of, like, a 10-day mushroom binge. And I was like, what do I really, like, want to do with my life? What makes me happy? And then I was like, being a drunk asshole on stage and yelling at people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I moved to Hollywood and just hammered out comedy, literally, because I was hammered for the first part, which was a terrible idea.
I was talking to somebody about it last night, and he was talking about another person at the gym who had a similar experience of just an acid trip or something like that. It was just like, I really, really want to I love training. Like, it's just those realizations and those moments where you're like, this is really what I want to do. You kind of have the clarity, whether it's from mushrooms, edibles, whatever. Pablo coming up here. He was showing me some love.
Hey, Pablo.
Pablo, welcome to the podcast.
Just squeeze on in.
Squeeze on in, buddy. Squeeze on in. But yeah, it does seem to be a theme, right? Of, like, mushroom trips and getting stoned on some kind of psychedelic gives you this clarity that then makes you get off your ass and do the things you really always wanted to do.
Yeah, I think what it is hallucinogens, the whole ego death thing. They separate you from your ego. I think ego is very important to have, but it's also important to be able to distance yourself from your ego so you can make objective decisions.
Well, so you can also get away from the ego's tied to what you might be doing. So to get away and make the decision that you need to make.
Okay, Pablo, off.
So to get past the ego and the decisions you want to make and the pattern that you're already in, you need that kind of reset, right? And was that kind of the experience that kind of aligned with what you're talking about here?
I still have not figured out how to curb my ego. I think the best thing I'm doing for that now is just getting my ass beat every day. That's humbling.
Yeah,
I need that for sure.
but
I'm reading a book called Ego's the Enemy, and I'm like,
Ryan Holiday.
not too far into it, so I'm still trying to figure that out.
But what I'm saying about the hallucinogens kind of kicking you out of your ego for a moment to really kind of look at what you're doing and what you want to do and what you're tied to, maybe. Like, right, for me, I've written 2 books about football, right? And this year I kind of realized that I don't want to chase that anymore. Everything I was chasing there, like trying to work toward being like a successful NFL agent, like things of that nature, I like realized, like, be a writer in the football space. Bless you. I realized that wasn't what I wanted anymore. That was what my ego wanted, what I was chasing, the money I was chasing, all these sorts of things. And you have these experiences that kind of kick you off of the path, like off the mindset of what you're on. And like that's what I'm saying about hallucinogens, or like even 2020 itself kind of kicks you off of that path of like, this is where I thought I wanted to go, but I really want to go over here.
Yeah, and to add on to that, humanity is all about change and evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And you should always be constantly changing your mind about shit.
Yeah.
But like, stick to a goal, stick to it. And if you fail, try again. And eventually, you should only quit if you lose the passion for it,
right?
Not if you're failing.
Right. So that brought you how many months? So it was about a year ago you started training at West LA, right? And then what happened? Your experience of coming out here to Austin. What made you decide to do that? I mean, I think I know the answer to that partially.
Yeah, it's
pretty
simple.
But what was that kind of experience like as someone who left a place that everyone seems to be leaving right now? I'm from New York, New Jersey, and I can see the same thing happening for people, the same wheels turning.
Yeah, well, I visited Austin 3 times in the last several years, and every single time I've been like, I belong here.
Yeah.
But when I was in LA, I would fantasize about living in Austin, but I'm like, I'm too in love with stand-up comedy, and this is the place to be for it.
Yes.
So when COVID shut down LA, which it is still very shut down. I don't hear about the pandemic unless I go onto Facebook and look at LA comics post about it. That's the only time I hear about it.
Yes.
And so I was actually dating a girl at the time. We were living together, and I was just kind of like, all right, I gotta move to Austin. As soon as the pandemic hit, I was like, I wasn't one of those people that was like, this is gonna be over in a month. I was like, the world is never gonna be the same. This is the first day. Everything has changed forever. And I was like, I'm going to go out to Austin and try to get some property and, lower my expenses and just, start a new life and where I'm free. And I found out 10th Planet Austin was one of the driving factors. So I called to make sure that they were still open. And Gabe's like, fuck yeah, we are.
Fuck yeah, we are, bro. Do you have to wear masks? No, dude. No. You don't have to wear your masks when you're around us. Fucking figuratively and literally. You don't need to pretend you're something you're not when you're fucking with us. But continue.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is great. I'm going to just go out and stay in Airbnbs for a little bit. And I signed up to 10 Planet. I took a 2-week road trip with my buddy Gary Faust, and we went all over the fucking map.
How do you know Gary?
Santa Barbara. We went to college together.
Ah, okay, cool. You went to UC Santa Barbara?
CC.
Oh, okay. So you were in Santa Barbara, though, which is what was that? I mean, beautiful place.
It was so awesome that the rest of my life sucks.
You're in Austin right now in a great place. Where you're like, fuck, this is nothing like my days at CCSB.
It's similar. The weekends get crazy here.
Yeah, oh yeah, they can.
And if I wanted to drink every night, I could.
Yeah,
but I'm way past that.
Are you past that?
Yeah,
you're past that debauchery.
Drinking every night, absolutely not. I don't drink.
Can you believe that we ever did that?
Dude, the amount of alcohol I used to consume is baffling.
Did you go to university after CCSB?
No, I dropped out.
Okay, so it's that what's interesting is the investment of college. I was just talking to someone about this the other day. That like the investment of college and what you get out of it, which is basically like a drinking and a drug problem, is not really like a good move.
But at least I got this degree that's indebted me $45,000.
Yeah. So it's like
just like all negative. But I made the best friends in my life there.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's great. It's great.
And I got a $4,500 Pell Grant, which
paid for
helped me start my first business.
Okay. What was your first business?
Amazon.
Yeah. The fidget spinner thing.
Yeah, that wasn't my first product, but that was just what. It's a funny one to note.
Dude, I got in trouble with Adidas and Nike at one point. Well, no, I got in trouble with Adidas because this was when Adidas was making football jerseys. I got in trouble for selling fake, authentic jerseys on eBay. So they looked like authentics, right? They were dope, and I was caking on them. Like we were getting them for $25, selling them for like you see an authentic jersey, they're $200. So these were ones that we.
You still have the Connect on those?
No, they came from China. I'm sure we could actually probably still find that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it was. I'm pretty sure that it was just the jerseys that like had like a stitch off here or there, and they just send out the back door and like sell to the black market, and they wouldn't send to the NFL, right? Like all the copyright issues people have with China and stuff like that. So yeah, I got in trouble for that at one point. But yeah, you were saying that you're a bit of a hustler on Amazon, and fidget spinners was the move, huh?
At the time, yeah, it blew up and then it died out real quick, and then my items got banned for resembling ninja stars. And so I was like, okay, I tried. So when the pandemic hit, the first month, all I did was
sell masks,
get intoxicated, sit around, watch Netflix, and eat candy. That was it for a whole month. And then after that, I was like, okay, that's enough of that. That needs to stop. So I started learning coding. I wanted to create my own Amazon website or like a competitor. So I ended up quitting that because the amount of Adderall it took to stay focused on that was literally turning me into a zombie. Like I wouldn't talk on the days I was like studying and learning. Yeah, I would not even speak to my girlfriend that I lived with for like 6 hours.
Yeah, right. I took New Vigil at one point, or Pro Vigil, whichever one we got from Canada, man. And God, dude, I don't know what I was thinking. I was 22, 23, whatever. I had a business. I was running T-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that. And man, like I was just getting fucking just like in a different reality mentally. And like I can imagine the same with the Adderall. You're just basically methed out. You're focused on the studying. You're all alone. Like
yeah, nothing matters. You don't care about anything. You're just like, finish this task.
Yeah, dude.
That's it.
There are a ton of people in journalism and stuff like that that are apparently addicted to Adderall and then just get drunk at night.
I know one or two.
Yeah. They work for good publications, big publications. Any big journalists. By the way, this is like 80% of journalists too. This isn't like one journalist. Like this is like statistically, like they're a very unhealthy class of individuals, physically, mentally, and spiritually. But continue. That's why they're journalists, dude. Because they don't have souls.
So yeah, for me, like I have an addictive personality. Whatever I find that I like, I have to do it all the time.
That's why you're at jiu-jitsu all the time.
Yeah, in the past, that's been substances and unhealthy lifestyle habits. And
but now you're a Christian. Ever since you came to 10th Planet, Christianity.
Communion bread.
Yeah. But you've been addicted, have an addicted personality.
Yeah, like whatever you got, I need all of it.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm just gonna move to Austin and I'm gonna start doing all the jiu-jitsu I can, and because physical like exercise is a real fundamental foundation of the rest of your life.
Yeah. The one time in my life that I wasn't physically exercising, I was just doing a bunch of Percocet. So it's just like you just fucking just get off the rails, bro.
I used to work on a mortgage broker's, and I'd work like 50-hour weeks.
Yeah. And
that was the most depressed I've ever been in my life because I wasn't exercising.
Yeah.
You look down, you feel that belly fat, and you're just like, Jesus, what a done with myself.
Yeah, and I, us finding our way to this lifestyle. I just think of, I'm very thankful pretty often about the time in history that we exist in, right? Like everyone wants to have started jiu-jitsu 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? But for me, it feels like I found myself in a really cool place. I had all my experiences with football and things of that nature, right? So that made me into now. But now, like, we're in a very cool environment. We're in a cool place. I've had the right coaches come along, Curtis and stuff, that have put me on a path that I like. And just to be able to do what we do on a daily basis, I think it's just from a human perspective is really valuable for us.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Every single time I show up there, I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about, I mean, you came here in May or June?
I think August.
Hey, and by the way, August, all right, so we'll remember that and come back to it. By the way, my girlfriend, Jamie, about a couple days into this thing, she had the same perspective as you. That think this is just a massive, like, moment that things are changing. Like when everything went, like you kind of identified that it was a 9.
See that?
What?
I was scratching my inner thigh and you can see it.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Most of you will hear this on audio, so you won't get to see the inner thigh of this young man. But it was like a 9/11 moment, right? It was like, this has changed the world. Something's coming out. It wasn't just like 2 weeks to slow the spread. Like, you immediately realized, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're going to lock down everything and then just open it back up? No fucking way.
Yeah.
And I had friends at the time, too. Like, I hung out with one of my buddies, like, maybe 2 months after it started.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm starting to think this wasn't going to go away. And I'm like, dude, we've already been there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, let me break it down for you. This is what's going to happen.
The day 15, like, so I've been thinking a lot with what happened at the Capitol. I'm like, bro, like,
this shit was wild.
That shit was wild first, but I was thinking like this. I was like, bro, like, you've been poking people ever since day 15 of slow the spread. You said 2 weeks to slow the spread. The second it was day 15, you committed an act of violence on everyone, basically, in my opinion, right? Like, it's like, if you own a business, you own a small business, you own a restaurant. The day after day 14, where we did our part together, and you remember, like, Trump was like, well, I want everything open by Easter. I want everything open by Easter. And the media was just like, no, you can't. You can't. And now here we are. Andrew Cuomo, Lori Lightfoot, Joe Biden was inaugurated today. Both of those people say, Newsweek says, Stanford study says, it's time to open back up. Lockdowns don't do anything. All this sort of shit. It's like, all right, well, if I can, the world changed forever that day, and you saw it right away. It's like, for me, I was like, well, maybe this is kind of scary. Maybe this is, like, all these people wouldn't just give up all this money to shut down. The NBA wouldn't give up all this money to shut down. They wouldn't dare suspend their season. College basketball wouldn't dare end March Madness. Remember, those were the first things that happened, too.
The thing that I realized is that no matter, like, it fucked over everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest problems was that not only is, like, you have to, your personal shit, whatever you got going on, like, oh, this fucked up this for me and this for me, is that there's, like, millions of people who have it so much worse.
Oh, yeah.
And there's even more people that have it worse than them. So it's like you can't even complain. There's so many coexisting psychological things going on that are like you're in a shitty situation, but you can't complain about it because other people that are equal to you are doing worse. And also you can't do human contact, human interaction that's necessary.
Yeah.
And there's just psychological warfare on all ends.
I can't, fuck, dude, bro. I could pick up a woman with a smile, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you can't, I'm not allowed to, like, use my facial expressions to express, like, if I'm a single man out there in the world right now, I'm having to wear a mask everywhere, and I don't have a nice woman at home.
Just be 6'3".
Yeah. But what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, you got, like, there's all these people around, you don't see their faces. Everything's, like, very off-putting. Everything's very unfriendly. Like, you don't just get to see people smiling around. Like, it's fucking, just that alone has always been bananas to me. But to your point about
facial expressions are crucial to knowing how people are feeling.
It's crucial to comedy.
To convey emotion.
Yeah, it's crucial to.
I don't have to wear a mask on stage.
Of course, right. But like it's you know from your art that what you can do with your face to communicate or express something. And to your point about someone always being worse off is that like hundreds of millions of people are going to die of starvation this year because of the economic ramifications that have gone down the ladder all the way to them. So like that was like even the World Economic Forum, which is like the home of the Great Reset, even they mentioned that hundreds of millions of people are going to die because of the economic consequences of this event, this entire thing. And so
people are going to die anyways.
They are going to die anyway, but they were saying like more were going to die of the whatever, of starvation, right? But you were saying that you had a month of this. And by the way, the other thing too for me, I had someone tell me the other day, a couple weeks ago, he's like, man, like if people would just wear masks, like this would all be over. And I was like, whoa, dude.
Were they from California?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, they just got here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they still believe that, like to right now.
Yeah, so kind of go into what it was like living there. Like you said about your friend kind of coming around to it. I've had, Cody. Cody went out to LA for the 10P qualifier for combat jiu-jitsu. And Cody had the experience of being at a restaurant and someone like really like reprimanding him about like his mask being under his nose. Some of that has gotten imported here over the last couple months. I mean, I'm at Radio at the coffee shop, and they have what I refer to as bulletproof glass for scared white people who are afraid of the air. You've seen it, right? Fucking, it's like you go into a gas station in the hood, right? And there's bulletproof glass everywhere. But behind this bulletproof glass isn't like an Indian dude or a black dude. It's just overprivileged white lady who got a lot going on. Not
the flimsy little.
Yeah, the flimsy dude too. There's a big white girl.
I can shoot right through that thing.
Yeah.
Let's go rob Tender Greens.
Yeah.
Right. Sweet greens.
Right, but like the reality is they're trying to protect themselves from your air.
Yeah.
The air coming out of you because you might be toxic to their environment. And what I realized, and the woman behind there, like, put your mask over your nose. I'm like, there is a barrier between us, lady. There's literally a plexiglass, like a fucking hockey game between us. And but like you're saying in LA, like what was it like living there the first few months? I mean, was the anxiety in the air very, very high?
Oh God, yeah.
You can feel it, right?
Oh yeah, and it was also really the day the news broke, the shutdown happened. When they closed the gyms is when it did it for me. It's like that's like I said, that's like my cornerstone. That's make sure if I'm not exercising, I'm an alcoholic.
Okay.
So I usually drink maybe once or twice a week now, and I mean I'm trying to get that down because that's too much.
Yeah. I understand it.
But at the time, the sky was gray. There was no cars on the road. Everything was closed except for drive-throughs. And I remember me and my girlfriend drove to In-N-Out, which is like a couple minutes away. And then I'm like, fuck, like, are we part of the problem? Like, what if we already have it? Like, and I turned around and we went home. So I was like freaking out about it.
They had you
for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to have you.
My philosophy was, okay, sure, maybe they're wrong, but I would rather not find out the hard way by getting someone sick or killing someone. So I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to listen to the government for now. Mm-hmm. I'll see the numbers in a few weeks, few months, and I'll make up my mind for myself on what the deal is here. And that's what I did. And that's when I realized that this is not
what we were told.
We've been lied to so much. And I expected that. And I don't regret it. I would do it again.
I did the same thing. My thing was, all right, let's see what this is. But I had seen something from medium.com that immediately got taken down when it had about 5 million views. And it was like, here's the data from South Korea. Here's the data from Italy. And it illustrated that young people were going to get it and be okay, but it was going to kill old people. So like you're saying about the numbers ended up being in this situation where the numbers that we're talking about, a lot of that is inflated by those nursing home deaths, right? And so, like, that's part of the
And they would say people that got hit by a car who also had COVID in their system was a COVID death.
Yeah, and then they would tell you, like, in Chicago, or in Illinois, they were telling you that people in hospice, if they had COVID, were COVID deaths. So it just kind of became this whole thing that guys like you and I kind of started to see through. But a lot of people didn't get that. And so being in Austin, things began to get back to normal. at least. And when I say normal, I'll say the pandemic wasn't a thought in my mind in terms of like a concern. And what I mean is also getting in the way of the gym. Once the gym was open, it felt like everything was back to normal.
Yeah, when that gym closed for a week, I was freaking out. I had a really, really bad week.
Oh, up here? With us? Down here with us? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so the gym closed in December. We had a couple cases. It had spread a little bit, and we were just kind of making sure that was all under control in terms of just making sure that we had a built-in off day coming really with Christmas and everything. So we basically took a week off and just, I guess, made it so that we didn't have to keep dealing with positive tests. But someone else just hit me up this week that they got it, and he let so-and-so know. But it's like, it's just going to spread. It's going to go around. Thank God it's not worse. I mean, that's really, like, we should all be rejoicing that this thing's not worse. But instead, everyone is like, 400,000 people have died of COVID. And it's like, bro, like, the average age of death is like fucking 80, dude. Like, it's like, old people are dying. Do you know any old people? Do you know anyone over the age of 80?
No, they're all dead.
I'm sorry.
Did you do it?
No.
You gotta do something.
I'm like, do you know old people? And the next point I'm gonna make is that, like, I know some old people. They're like, fucking, it's not that great, dude. It's not that great.
Yeah, that's why they died. They're like, I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like, there's not a lot left to do. They're just like, let's just go sleep forever, you know. But so comedy.
Go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So I moved here. The night I moved into my Airbnb, I woke up the very next day, went straight to 10th Planet, signed up, and have been there like 3 hours a day ever since. Yeah, I mean, you've been and like you said, you definitely are one of the most committed, newer guys, right? And because I have to overcompensate, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not like genetically athletic. I'm not very coordinated, which is why I love jiu-jitsu in the first place, because I can feel myself improving and beating people that are more athletic than me, just because I have gotten better at some of those techniques. Obviously, and the strength, white belts. Yeah. I try to never use my strength. Well, what I'm saying is that you have a base of something to fall back on too. Yeah. You know, like you definitely, like, you've been putting a lot of work in over the years in terms of training. Yeah. So that carries over to give you some cardio, give you some base of, you know, of strength, and you've been doing a lot of MMA classes. What are, you know, you kind of talked before this about, so like, what are your goals for, you mentioned that one of the things is that you want to make sure people understand that like going after whatever you're trying to do. So there are two domains of art that you're really focused on right now. You know, you do business stuff as well, but like, I do a lot of things. I do way too much. I got a lot on my plate. Yeah. What are kind of like the goals that you are seeking, and how jiu-jitsu, MMA, all of it kind of factors into that, as well as your own goals in the sport too? I would like to fight. Okay. Yeah. But I would, no, more than that. No, I want to rephrase that. I would like the confidence to fight. Okay. Because right now I don't feel ready to. Right. And I will, but just not yet. I like competing. I want to win more. As far as goals for comedy, fucking get paid to do comedy. Yeah, make it the life, make it the career. Yeah, well, I really want to make a living off my podcast because it's so easy to do. Yeah, just everything really. I just want with your homie Mike Eaton, Giggle Boys podcast. Yeah, which I saw some clips of. It's really funny. We're a hilarious duo. Yeah, so you guys have been friends for how long? 2 years maybe. Not that long. I actually met him out. He's from Austin. So you met him out here. He came out? Yeah. Yeah. And we just clicked. We had one of those, like, after an open mic, all the comedians will like circle up and like just kind of talk shit and go like after rolls. Yeah. And that's like my favorite thing is being in a group of people where everyone's just throwing out singers and all, like kind of like insulting each other and roasting each other. And they got to the point where everyone was kind of running out of steam, and me and him were the only ones that were still going. And then we were like, dude, you're fucking awesome. You're fucking awesome too. Yeah, let's be friends. All right. And then I went back to LA, and well, I mean, I saw him on Instagram and shit. We don't really talk that much. React to my story here and there. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm moving to LA. And then I'm like, no fucking shit. And then we we were, doing shit together like every day. We were making a lot of progress in comedy together, and him more than I.
Are you? So he was kind of like your training partner that you'd go to open mics with, like kind of like your Thunder buddy, bro.
Yeah, pretty much, because he's got the. He's like a really nice, friendly, approachable guy who is empathetic and genuine. So everyone likes him, and he's really good at making friends. And I'm not like that. I'm good at making friends with people that are just like me. I can't really play to the room, which is not good for comedy, but
I know what you're saying.
That's kind of just how my brain works. And
I think that there's an aspect of just trying to get in where you fit in too, right? Is it like path of least resistance maybe there too, right? Of like, yeah, I'm just trying to. I'll attract myself to whichever part of the room has my people in it. I guess kind of whether it's like looking for people to in the comedy community and things like that. But like going along the open mic scene, I want to kind of get into that because myself, I'm someone who's interested in how someone goes about the open mics.
Another thing is my podcast, Casburgers.
Mm-hmm.
A handful of people at the gym that I like barely have talked to before will just come up to me and be like, "Hey, I watch your podcast. It was funny." And then they'll start like opening up to me about shit because I talk about insane stuff.
Yeah, you're saying
it's really, really cool because if you watch my podcast and you don't know me, one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to be like, "That guy's fucking insane. I do not want to associate with him." And then I never have to deal with someone who doesn't like me. Or you watch that and you're like, "That guy's hilarious. I want to be friends with him." And then I'm friends with someone without ever having to do the whole small talk and working up to it. They already know who I am.
Bro, I'm like that on Twitter. I do that on Twitter where it's just like, if everyone else is going to be doing this like fucking woke game, like I'm just going to be like, "No, that's a lie." Like, and then I'm going to attract the other crazy people. And it's like, oh, we don't even need to get through all this. If you like me after seeing how crazy I am, then like we're cool, man. Like we've gotten through the getting to know each other part. I know you're crazy because you like me.
Yeah.
You're my kind of crazy. Yeah. So going through the open mic part, right? So, what kind of reps are you getting on the open mic scene in LA? And then what has it been like coming to Austin? And what do you see on the horizon for the city?
So in LA, my goal was like 10 a week. So that's like 2 a night on business days. Sometimes I do 3 or 4 in a night.
Business days would be Wednesday to Sunday?
No, Monday to Friday.
Okay, so you're saying 2 a days on Monday to Friday night would be the open mics?
It depends.
Okay.
There's so many chances. You could do 3 a night if you really want.
Okay.
Which that's what I aim for, but I don't know. Life comes up. That's a lot to ask, and you got to pay, and it's a huge sacrifice. I always knew that if I quit comedy, that I would be so much more successful financially and in business. But I just love comedy so much that I don't care.
What was it that drew you to it?
What?
What was it that drew you to it?
What?
What was it that drew you to comedy?
Oh, dude, I've loved comedy since I was a little kid. Like, I just like making people laugh, and
like you said about bullshit.
I used to watch stand up when I was like a little kid. Every time I'd come home from school, I'd turn on Comedy Central, and I would just watch these guys like make rooms of people laugh just by talking. Mm-hmm. And I just thought like that was so cool. And I would like quote them. I would steal their jokes. Yeah. And then like say them in front of my friends, and then they would laugh. And then like back in like elementary, middle school.
Right, yeah. And I would recite Dave Chappelle stuff. Yeah.
And then I started writing my own jokes and on Twitter. So it was timestamped. So if anyone ever says they wrote it first, I can be like, no, you didn't. And the first time I did it, I did pretty good. And I was like, yeah, I want more of this. And then I performed once in LA in the Comedy Store in the Belly Room at an open mic, which is arguably the hardest room in the country. And I fucking killed it. like I was hands down the best of anyone that night. And I had like 3 or 4 people come up to me after and like shake my hand, like, that was amazing. And I was like, fuck yeah. And then I bombed every single time after that in that room for like a year.
So you were making like your way to like the clubs, like your open mic reps you were starting to get them in the clubs. You're at that kind of stage.
No, I'm still an open micer.
Okay.
It's all about networking, and that's how I was saying. I'm not good at that, and
Okay.
Mike is. So
he's like kind of he really that provides some of the. You guys each bring something to the relationship that the other.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
I finance the podcast,
and
then he gets it distributed, and
because he does, yeah. So you guys make a really good team. So now you're in this position where that's why you're excited about the potential of the podcast.
I'm excited about the potential of everything I'm doing in life right now.
Yeah, and I think that kind of the staying in motion, and one of the things about martial arts training is that it always gives you something to get fired up about. Like you're always fired up. We're always like wired.
And it taught me patience.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand what patience meant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought patience meant waiting. But patience is not the lack of action. It is the proactiveness of being patient. It's practicing patience is an action. Because when you're going and getting tapped out every day,
yeah,
and you keep coming back, that's patience, but you're not waiting to get better. You're working on getting better.
Yeah.
But you have to be patient with your progress.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's a really good point about. I think that's a really good place to end because we're at about 40 minutes. But I think that the patience that we get from it is super valuable because you know that one day, I know that one day I'll be a black belt. That's the goal. Like I know I'll be there one day.
What are you right now?
Purple belt. Just got it in May.
How long have you been training?
4 years.
Oh, damn.
4.5 years. 4.5 years.
Moving up fast.
I guess so. But I just know I'm going to get the black belt one day. Right?
Yeah.
That's the goal. And the patience that comes from that is just, it's the process.
It's also much easier to be patient when you're doing what you love.
Yeah, and the process itself is the knowledge that, and you see this, especially where I'm at now, is that you just see the growth over the course of the activity. You start to see, okay, now I see the world this way, and I understand things a little bit better this way, and I understand what I want to do in business a little bit more, and how to organize all that in my head, and organize what the next steps are and what the proper steps are, right? And so it's like that process allows for some patience where you're not like, oh, I need to go get something right now. I need to go get this right now, because you're kind of building toward what you're going to be or what it's going to be, and you're not as, it allows you to have some patience because it's not just enjoying it, but it's also having confidence in it too.
Yes, instant gratification is the enemy.
And I mean, you're involved in two things right now. I mean, we all, being 10 Planet Austin, across the street from On It, used to be inside On It. We're all Joe Rogan guys, all Joe Rogan fans. We all gained something from him. And I think that the ethos that kind of both of us feel towards martial arts and towards growth, and you towards comedy and podcasting, and me toward podcasting, hopefully one day I get myself out there and do comedy as well, is that, that pursuit and that growth and that the things that we get to enjoy and the non-instant gratification of one day being someone who's on stage who's like killing and getting that feeling that you had at the belly room, every time you go up.
I'm just happy every single time I get a chance to train, and every single time I get a chance to go on stage.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting there like, fuck, I'll be better soon. I'm just like, I'm doing this. I'm loving this.
That might have sucked.
But
like that I might have just got mushed by someone on the mat, but like that sucked. But all right, I'm doing this.
Like I never think about quitting.
No, yeah, that's one of the interesting things too, is that you just really don't. Like there's no we're gonna keep going. I plan on keep going and keep doing this until we get to there, and then after I get to there, we're gonna keep going.
Yep.
So, and lastly though, comedy in Austin. What has it been like since you've gotten here?
Dude,
in terms of the amount of stage time you're able to get? Is it open? Like
so coming from LA, where everyone is really good looking, and LA comedy scene where people are pretty talented because people are pretty hard on you, so you have to work harder, and there's much more pressure. I am better looking and funnier in Austin. And it's great. I have not bombed at all since I moved here.
Hell yeah.
The crowds are really easy here, and it's great.
I think everyone's a little bit happy to just have anything to do other than sit inside
for
another moment.
For sure. Most of the... I don't think I've done any indoor mics.
All outdoor?
Yeah.
And that's why you're at the winery this weekend? Repeat where?
It's Dripping Springs Wanderlust Wine Company. It's a beautiful, like, I don't know what you call it, fucking space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's like tennis courts over here and like big, cool, modern sculptures and like putt and mini golf. And it's a dating app launch party, so there's going to be a bunch of good-looking, cool people there.
Does your girlfriend live with you?
I don't have a girlfriend.
Cool, man. Sounds like a really good time.
No, I said girlfriend because she was at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, now you're launching dating apps, so it sounds like you're gonna have a really good Saturday night.
Not my dating app.
I mean, but what I'm
saying
yeah, is there's gonna be
everyone's just nice because this is the second one. The first one, everyone was just like nice and open and hot and.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
So I should leave the girlfriend and the kids at home.
Yeah, and I had and that's on the same day as my jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah,
which is for
World
cash.
Series of Jiu-Jitsu.
So hopefully I win some jiu-jitsu, I win some money, then I crush my show, then watch the Conor McGregor fight, and have myself a good ass Saturday. So
last thing before we sign off. 2020, what has been like the overarching lesson for you? Because you've had one might say tumultuous 2020. A lot of things that happened. I don't think you would call it tumultuous, but a lot of good things have happened. What is the lesson?
There's been a lot. Way too much to end on.
Give me your best one.
I think my biggest lesson has been about relationships and emotions and not living in denial and being honest with yourself about how you feel, because the male ego specifically can be very convincing in convincing you that everything's fine when it's not. And I think the longer you don't admit that to yourself, the more likely you are to blow up or shift that negative energy towards something else and displace it.
Rather than address the relationship?
Yeah, or just how you feel about it.
I've had relationships like that.
Well, I haven't been in a relationship since I moved here, but it just got me thinking about my recent past relationships.
Yeah.
Where I'm seeing like what I did wrong, and most of it's pretty obvious stuff. Like if I told you, you'd be like, "Yeah, don't. Why would you ever do that?"
Dude, you shouldn't smoke crack in the house. like, dude, like, what are you doing, man? Feels like I struck a nerve there. This wasn't pre-planned. I had no idea if you smoke crack in the house or not. But you can judge what you believe off of that reaction. bro.
I got a story for you off camera.
dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, it's like I had like a really nice girlfriend in college, but yeah, it fell apart, whatever. And I could spend a few years blaming her or whatever, right? But like, it's like I was doing drugs like every day. I was addicted to Percocet. Like, whose fault was that? It wasn't hers.
Yeah.
Well, you could pretend it was.
Yeah, you knew what you were getting into.
You knew what you were doing.
You're the one dating a drug addict.
You fucking idiot. All right. You remember the sponsors from the beginning of the show? DrinkAction.com, action with a K. 10PATX, 15% off. 10PATX apparel on Amazon. On it, use 10PATX for 10% off. Buy my book at the 451 Project 451, like the books that got burnt because my publishing deal got canceled because I told the truth about Antifa. And anyway,
follow me, Octavius Thunder, on Instagram, and that in my bio it links to my other 2 podcasts. And also follow Golden Cricket Protein. I'm starting a protein bar company made from crickets because I think insects are a sustainable form of protein, and they actually save more water than plant protein.
I believe you. I'll buy some. Is it tasty?
It's delicious. You want me
swear?
to make you some?
Maybe not right now. Maybe I'll try crickets next time I see you.
They're blended up. You're not just eating chunks of bugs.
Oh, dude. All right, I'll do it.
Sweet.
All right, we're going to do it off camera, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, thanks for having. Hey, we're at your place right now, and now you've taught me this machine that we can use. So you've guided me, and now you are my podcast sensei. So thank you. Thanks for coming on. What was that?
That's what I'm here for.
Hey, thanks for coming to the gym. We appreciate having guys like you. And over and out.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. End stream, brother. And fuck yeah, I gotta go to work.